3 weeks ago, I dropped a ball of aluminum foil into my own toilet tank. This morning, I finally fished it out, and I want you to take a good look at what came back. This thing went in shiny as a new dime. It came out looking like a lump of charcoal somebody left in the rain. Dark, gray, chalky along one side. Now, the internet says this little ball was busy the whole time it sat down there, softening my water, stopping limescale before it starts, keeping the whole tank fresh through some kind of ionizing magic. Millions of views will tell you so. Well, I spent 30 years in residential plumbing, and I'll tell you, I have learned to be suspicious of any fix that costs nothing and asks nothing. So I ran the test myself, properly. 3 full weeks, 2 toilets, notes on paper so you don't have to. Today you get the verdict straight, no hedging. And stay with me, because number 9 covers the thing folks actually do drop in these tanks. The one that quietly bleeds $50 to $100 a month off a water bill. Then, after the last tip, I will show you the one place a foil ball truly earns its keep. Let's lift the lid. Number 1, the claim on trial. The claim itself laid out plain, because you cannot judge a fix until you know exactly what it promised. Here is the pitch making the rounds. You crumple a sheet of aluminum foil into a loose ball, maybe 2, and you drop them into the toilet tank. Not the bowl. The tank, that lidded box on the back holding the clean water that waits for the next flush. From there, the story goes. The foil gets to work. It softens hard water. It attracts calcium and magnesium, the dissolved minerals that turn into limescale, and holds onto them so they never crust up your tank walls or plug the little rinse holes under the rim. Some versions go further and say the foil purifies the water through ionization, which is a fancy word for electric charges moving between metals and minerals, and the proof they offer is the best part. Pull the ball out a few weeks later, and it has turned dark. See that, they say. Look at all the gunk it pulled out of your water. Between you and me, that blackened ball is the entire sales pitch. It looks like evidence. It photographs like evidence. But nobody making those videos ever tests the water before and after, because the picture already did the convincing for them. Verdict on number 1, too good to check. So I checked. Number 2, how I ran the test, because a claim this popular deserves a fair trial, not a shrug. My house sits on hard water. Anything past 7 grains per gallon counts as hard, and mine runs well past that. If foil could soften anything, my tanks are exactly where it would get to show off. I used 2 toilets. The upstairs bathroom got 2 foil balls, loosely crumpled, just like the videos show. The downstairs toilet got nothing at all. That one is the control, which just means the plain one you compare against. Here is the part people skip. 1 toilet with a foil ball proves nothing, because you have nothing to hold it against. Every honest test is a comparison. Then I set my starting marks. A grease pencil ring at the water line inside both tanks, drawn right on top of the existing scale. Dated photos of both tanks. And I checked the water itself with hardness test strips, the cheap kind, a few dollars at any hardware store. Dip, wait, match the color. Both toilets read the same going in, which they should, since it is the same water. Then I left them alone. No cleaning, no scrubbing, no products of any kind in either tank for 3 straight weeks, because a test only counts if you keep your thumb off the scale. Once a week, I lifted the lids, took a photo, dipped a strip, and wrote the numbers down, the way I used to fill out a job ticket. Old habits. Verdict on number 2. Pending. 3 weeks on the clock. Number 3. Why smart folks believe it. Why smart people fall for this one. Because the myth did not come from nowhere. It got borrowed from a trick that actually works. My Uncle Ray showed me the real one when I was maybe 12. His mother's silverware had gone black with tarnish, so he lined a baking pan with aluminum foil, dissolved a few spoonfuls of baking soda in hot water, and laid the forks right on the foil. Inside of 10 minutes, the black lifted off the silver, and the foil went dull where it had done the work. Felt like a magic show. It is not. It is electrochemistry, what the trade calls galvanic action, which just means two different metals trading material through hot mineral water. The sulfur that made the tarnish lets go of the silver and grabs onto the aluminum instead. So folks reason it forward. If foil can pull the black off Grandma's forks, surely it can pull the minerals out of my toilet water. But look at what the silver trick needed. Hot water, baking soda dissolved in it to carry the charge, and the silver touching the foil, metal on metal. A foil ball floating in a toilet tank has none of the three. The water is cold, there is no baking soda, and hard water is not tarnish anyway. It is dissolved calcium and magnesium, and pulling those out of water takes ion exchange, which is what a real water softener does with a tank of resin beads and a bag of salt. A crumpled ball of foil has no seat at that table. Verdict on number 3, honest mistake. Real chemistry, wrong room. Number 4, 3 weeks later, the reveal. What 3 weeks in the tank actually did. This is the reveal, so let's take the evidence one piece at a time. First, the foil itself. Dark gray, nearly black in patches, dull and chalky where it used to shine. Looks dramatic. It is not. That color is aluminum oxide, the metal's own protective skin, thickened up from sitting in water that carries a touch of chlorine, the disinfectant your utility already adds. Aluminum does this anywhere. Leave a wet foil pan on the counter overnight, and you will see the same dulling begin. The ball did not fill up with gunk from your water. It aged. That is all the black is. Second, the water. Around week 1, I noticed the foil tank's water carried a faint gray tint, and I will bet that tint is what convinces people something is happening. It is oxide dust shedding off the ball. The foil was dirtying the water, not the other way around. Third, the numbers. The hardness strips read identical, upstairs and downstairs, week after week, right through the end. Not softer by a single grain. And my grease pencil lines told the same story. Both tanks grew the same faint whisper of new crust at the waterline. Foil or no foil, same water, same scale. I'll tell you, 9 times out of 10, that is the anatomy of a viral trick. When a free fix hands you a dramatic before and after, the drama is the product. Verdict on number 4, busted, flat busted. It does nothing for your water, your scale, or your tank. Quick pause. I put 30 years of drain fixes into an ebook, 101 Ways to Unclog Any Drain. The toilet chapter runs on cheap stuff already in your cabinet, and every fix in it is a $150 to $400 service. Call you never make. Links in the description. Then subscribe to the Vintage Pipe Fitter for old trade tricks that keep real money in your pocket every week. Number 5. The one thing foil can do to a toilet. The one thing a foil ball actually can do to your toilet, and it is the reason I want you careful if you already tried this at home. As foil oxidizes, it turns brittle. Little pieces shred loose, especially off a ball that has been rocked by 3 weeks of flushes. A loose shred goes wherever the water goes, and in a tank, everything ends up at the flush valve seat. That is the round opening at the bottom of the tank, the seat your flapper drops onto to seal the water in. The flapper is the rubber trap door on the little chain. One sliver of foil laid across that seat and the flapper cannot close clean. Now you have a trickle you will never hear. Or a toilet that ghost flushes at 2 in the morning, refilling itself over a leak the size of a fingernail clipping. So if a foil ball is sitting in your tank right now, no shame. But let's clean up properly. Tank water is clean supply water, though gloves are fine if you would rather. Lift out the ball and every stray fleck you can spot. Run a finger around the flush valve seat and make sure it is smooth and bare. And while the lid is off, make sure nothing is resting against the fill valve either, the tall tower that refills the tank after each flush. Verdict on number 5. The stunt will not hurt your water, but a sloppy cleanup can buy you a running toilet. Number 6. What a tank actually fights. Number 6. What a toilet tank actually fights, because if foil is not keeping it clean, something has to, and it pays to know your enemy first. Lift any tank lid in America, and you are looking at 2 different problems that folks lump together under one word: dirty. The first enemy is the living kind: mold, mildew, bacteria laying down a slick film. It shows up as dark streaks down the tank walls, sometimes a pink tinge, and it loves a humid bathroom and a toilet that rarely gets used, like the one in the guest bath. The second enemy is the mineral kind: limescale, the white and tan crust that hard water bakes onto porcelain, the fill valve, the chain, everything sitting at the waterline. Here's the part people skip. Those 2 enemies need different medicine. A cleaner that kills mold does nothing for scale, and a descaler does not sanitize a thing. And the harsh shortcut products that promise both in one drop will chew up the rubber parts in your tank, which is a story I am saving for number 9, and it is the most expensive mistake in this whole video. The next 2 numbers hand you 1 weapon for each enemy. Both cheap, both older than I am, both gentle on rubber. Verdict on number 6. 2 enemies, 2 fixes, never 1 magic ball. Number 7. Hydrogen peroxide, the gentle killer. Number 7. Hydrogen peroxide, the gentle killer, and the closest thing there is to what people wished that foil was doing. This is the plain brown bottle from the first aid aisle, 3% strength, $1 and change. Pour 1 to 2 cups straight into the tank water. If the walls carry streaks, give them a light pass with a soft brush. Let it sit 30 minutes to an hour, then flush a couple of times. Done. While it sits, the peroxide is oxidizing the mold and the bacteria film, which is a trade way of saying it burns them up chemically on contact. Then it breaks down into plain water and oxygen. Nothing left behind. That is the beauty of it. It does not linger, it will not attack your flapper or your gaskets, and in this amount it is fine for septic systems too. I have walked into houses where the tank walls looked like the floor of a cave, black streaks top to bottom, and the homeowner had spent years pouring money into bowl products without ever once lifting the lid. 20 minutes and 1 brown bottle, and that tank looked 10 years younger. Run this every month or 2, more often through a humid summer, and the living stuff never gets a foothold. And hear me say this once about safety: 1 product at a time in a tank. Never mix cleaners and flush well between. That rule has no exceptions. Verdict on number 7. Earns its keep. Costs $1, harms nothing, actually works. Number 8. Citric acid for the crust. Number 8. Citric acid for the crust, the old school answer to scale. Scale is a mineral, and minerals do not scrub off. They dissolve off. And what dissolves them is a mild acid. The best one for a toilet tank is citric acid, the same food-safe powder that puts the pucker in lemon drops. Check the canning aisle or the baking aisle. A bag runs a few dollars and lasts the better part of a year. Here is the routine. Dissolve about a quarter cup of the powder in a quart of warm water, stir it clear, and pour it into the tank. Let it work for a few hours. Overnight is even better if the house can spare that toilet. Then a light scrub at the water line with a soft brush, a few flushes, done. The crust wipes away like chalk because the acid already broke its grip on the porcelain. And between you and me, go read the label on those descaling products with the fancy names sometime. Citric acid, sitting right at the top of the ingredients, at 4 or 5 times the price of the plain bag. You are paying for the label and the smell. One caution: keep it mild and keep it occasional. Citric acid in these amounts will not hurt porcelain or rubber. The strong stuff, the harsh bowl acids, stays in the bowl where it belongs, never in the tank. Verdict on number 8. Old school and proven. The minerals leave, the parts stay. Number 9. The tablet trap. Number 9. The tablet trap. Now we get to the thing people drop in tanks that genuinely does something. And what it does is wreck them. I mean, the drop-in tablets. The chlorine pucks that turn the bowl water blue. The ones promising weeks of bleach-clean freshness. You drop one in the tank, and from that day on, every rubber part in there is living in a chlorine bath, day and night, for months. Chlorine cooks rubber. It turns a flapper soft and gummy, then warped. It swells gaskets and stiffens the seals inside the fill valve, and the folks who build those parts know it. The major flapper and fill valve makers tell you flat out not to use in-tank chlorine tablets, and if they find that blue residue during a claim, your warranty is void. Sit with that a second. The people who manufacture the parts void the warranty over these tablets. Here is how it bites you. The flapper stops sealing clean. Not a gush. A silent leak, tank to bowl, around the clock. No sound, no puddle, nothing to see, except maybe a toilet that refills by itself at 3 in the morning. A leaking toilet like that can waste up to 200 gallons a day, and on the bill it shows up as an extra $50 to $100 a month. For a blue swirl. I have walked into houses where the homeowner swore the water company was cheating them. Bills spread out on the kitchen table for proof. Ask me how I know to lift the tank lid before I say a word. There sat the chalky remains of a chlorine puck next to a flapper I could fold like a slice of bread. If you want the fresh feeling, use the clip-on products that hang at the bowl rim and never touch the tank, and keep the tank itself clean with the peroxide from number 7. Verdict on number 9. Guilty. Keep tablets out of your tank, full stop. Number 10. The 15-minute dye test. Number 10. The 15-minute dye test, because after everything we just covered, you ought to find out today whether your own toilet is leaking in silence. All you need is food coloring. 10 drops of a dark color, blue or green, straight into the tank. Do not flush. Walk away for 15 or 20 minutes. Then come back and look in the bowl. Clear bowl, you are sealed up tight, sleep easy. Color in the bowl, your flapper is leaking, and every hour of every day it is bleeding water and money down the drain. The fix is about the cheapest in all of plumbing. A $5 flapper and 10 minutes of your time. Shut off the water at the little valve on the wall behind the toilet. Flush and hold the handle down to empty the tank. Unhook the old flapper, 2 rubber ears off the pegs and 1 chain clip, and take it with you to the store so you match the size. Most are 2-inch. Plenty of newer toilets run 3. Hook the new one on, set the chain with just a touch of slack, turn the water back on, and test it with a flush. Done. $5 against $50 to $100 a month. That is the whole math. Run this dye test twice a year. and always run it on any toilet that ever lived with tablets in the tank. Verdict on number 10. 15 quiet minutes, and 9 times out of 10, it is the cheapest insurance in the house. That's the whole case. If you want the rest of my playbook, grab 101 Ways to Unclog Any Drain. It covers every drain in the house, kitchen sink to main line, and every clog it prevents is a drain call you never pay for. It's waiting in the description. Hit subscribe, and the vintage pipe fitter will keep handing you old-school know-how that saves real money week after week. Bonus tip: the job foil was born for. Now hold on, do not throw that foil ball away, because here is your bonus, the one job it was born for. Wet a fresh ball of foil and rub it over the rust spots on your chrome. The base of a faucet, the towel bar, the tub drain trim. Anywhere the chrome has gone freckled and orange. Aluminum is softer than chrome, so it will not scratch the finish. And as you rub, the foil and water work up a fine gray paste that loosens the rust and polishes right over the spot. Wipe it clean, dry it off, and the shine comes back. That is a real shop trick, older than I am, and it works for the exact reason the tank trick does not. Contact and friction, metal working against metal, right where the problem lives, not a ball floating in cold water, waiting on a miracle. Verdict on the bonus: the one place a foil ball truly earns its keep. Outro. That is the lid back on this one. You got the straight verdict on the foil, 2 honest ways to keep a tank clean, and a $5 fix